Hey, today we are going to look at concealers. I've got a bucket full of them, and today we're going to look at the 10 I've got that are under $10. Most of them you can find in the drugstore. A couple of them you probably can't, but they're still under $10, so they're lumped together in this group. I ended up getting so many concealers because I wasn't putting them on correctly, so I didn't like any of them. I've gotten a little better at it, so hopefully you can find your favorite under $10 one in here too. I ended up having a few favorites in this group, which is really nice and surprising that you can find nice concealer coverage for a low dollar amount. It's not a very sexy, product, not like glamorous eyeshadows or striking lipsticks, but we all need a concealer or two in our bag, especially at this age. So let's see what you think. See if you've come up with the same favorites as I do. If you have a favorite one that's under $10 that I don't end up reviewing on here, then leave a comment below and let people know what your favorite is. I don't have any other ones right now that are under $10 to try and compare, but there's some nice ones in this group. So let's take a look at them. Okay, so let's start with our first under $10 concealer. This is ColourPop's Pretty Fresh Creamy Concealer. It retails for $9. It's full coverage, natural finish, hydrates with hyaluronic acid and coconut water, and comes in 30 shades. I've done my wrist test on it, and this one right here is its test. So I could zoom in a little on that. Right here. It does do full coverage, as you can see over this black line. And this is a family-owned business in California who launched their iconic Super Shock shadows in 2014. They strive for luxury at a reasonable price. Reviews are divided on whether it settles in creases and fine lines, and divided on the amount of coverage. I would call this full coverage from covering up that black line. So let's see how it looks on. One thing I've found from testing all these concealers is that at my age, with all these wrinkles, less is more. I'm not going to do it the whole way down because, in my experience, doing more does not give me more. Okay, so this is like one of the largest and deepest sunspots I've got, and it does a good job at concealing it. And you got to remember, some of this darkness is shadows from that rent there. But I think this one does a nice job. I like it. On my wrist test, after I put it in and I blended it and saw how much coverage it could get, I went up and down trying to generate creases. And this one did not crease. I mean, I can take a look at that again. So I've got them out of order because I ran out of room on my second wrist and I had to bring the last one back over here. But there's that, and I don't see, you know, a lot of creases on it. So I like this one, and I like the company. So that's where that one is. Okay, the next one is CoverGirl Smoothers Moisturizing Concealer Stick. This retails for someplace between $6 and $9.50. I saw it at a lot of different prices. It comes in 7 shades. It's moisturizing, designed for under the eye, full coverage. They make several other types of concealer formulations. The reviews are mixed on settling in fine lines and wrinkles, and some of the reviewers recommend shades Neutralizer and Illuminator. My shade that I got is Fair. Oh, on the ColourPop one, the last one, my shade was 45W. And I found it to be blendable, full coverage, and skin-like finish. This one for CoverGirl, I got shade Fair. It's a thick formula that drags a bit on the skin if applied from the stick. It's blendable, difficult to cover when blending. I would call it medium coverage. And that is this one. You can see the black line through it, although it is partially masked. And I did have a small amount of creasing on the wrist. What I like best about this is it is moisturizing. Even though I don't think this one would be considered full coverage, it's got plenty of coverage for under my eye. And because it's so creamy, it does blend well. It's not really one I would probably use on my dark spots, but it's creamy. Because it's so creamy, it's nice under the eye. And there was only a little bit of creasing on the wrist test. I'm gonna apply a little more under eye cream because I've been rubbing at the eyes here a lot. Okay, so we got a little more of that on. Okay, next one. Catrice True Skin High Cover Concealer. It looks like this. It retails for $7. It's lightweight, waterproof, soft matte finish, hyaluronic acid, and has up to 18-hour wear, 15 shades. Reviews indicate good coverage but differ a lot in opinions on creasing and fine lines. So now on this one, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This one is the one. This one. It had good coverage, but I wouldn't call it full coverage. I'd call it medium to full. And it's set down really nice. I did not have any creasing with this one at all. On this one I got shade Warm Vanilla 015. I found it blendable and pretty much full coverage. Now see, you can blend this one a lot without it coming completely off the part you're trying to hide. So I like that about it. I ended up getting so many concealers because when I first started trying them, I wasn't applying them correctly, and so I didn't like any of them. So you really only need a little bit of this. It's got a pretty big doe foot. So, but under the eye, I think it looks really nice. And it covers up my brown spot really well. So I think it might be my favorite, this Catrice, of all these, but I'll have to remember when I get towards the end. But it's one of my favorites. All right, flipping notes. Okay, the next one is Revolution Beauty Conceal and Define Concealer. It looks like this. It retails for $7. It's called Full Coverage, lightweight, long-lasting, matte coverage in 50 shades. It instructs to just place a couple of dots from the doe foot applicator, then blend under the eye. Reviews indicate sheer to medium coverage and are split on settling in creases and fine lines. I got shade C6. I found it to be full coverage, dries down but not too fast, and full coverage. I guess I better remove this stuff. 4. It's this one. It blends really well. This is another one I like. This one does a nice job hiding that spot. And let's blend it under the eye. This one does a lot of coverage. You got to be careful not to put too much on, and you'll be sitting there blending forever. So when I pull this like this to get rid of the shadow, you see really nice coverage. I like this one a lot too, and it retails for $7. It's also a good buy. Next one, Wet n Wild Mega Glow Makeup Stick, Conceal and Contour. I got it for $3.37. I think it comes in 10 shades, but it's kind of hard to tell with the way they do it. It's supposed to be long-lasting, full coverage. Reviews indicate some buy also in darker shades to use as contour. My shade is 108 Nude for Thought. I found it to have full coverage, blendable, soft matte finish. Now, this is kind of a big stick, so I'm going to apply it under my eyes with my concealer brush. I would call that pretty much full coverage on the dark spot. and pretty good coverage under the eye when I pull to get rid of the shadow. So this one is nice. I kind of like applying the liquid better though. But it does have a nice soft matte finish. This is the wrist test from the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Makeup. It had, I would call, medium coverage over the black line, and I think it did about average on the crease test from, you know, wagging my hand. Next is another Wet n Glow. This is called Wet n Wild Mega Last Incognito. I got it for $2.37. It says it's all day full coverage, liquid matte, buildable medium to full coverage. Blendable hydrating ingredients include shea butter, licorice root, mango seed butter, and the reviews say it creases less than most others. I would agree with that. Okay. This is, no wait, going the wrong way here. Okay, so this is the test for the Incognito. It covers up that black line really well, and there was very little, if any, creasing with it. Get a nice full coverage there. See how nicely this one blends too? One more Wet n Wild. This is Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. Retails for $5. It is lightweight, full coverage, 9 shades, allows normal looking photos under 7 types of light. So I guess if you are going to be someplace you're going to be photographed a lot, it will accept 7 different kinds of light for normal photos. I got the shade Light Ivory. I found it to be blendable and full coverage. Okay, so this one is this one, and I found it covered the black line really well, and if I patted it down, when I patted it down really well, it did not have any creasing. Moving my wrist all around, and those are some big wrinkles in there, folks. So this is my other, or one of my other favorites from this price group. Next one. Now, this one, I wasn't really sure if I should put it in the under $10 category or in the $10 to $20 category, which will be the next video, because its actual retail, manufacturer suggested retail price is $19.99. So that would put it in the $10 to $20 category. But I bought it for $8.80, and you can find this at a good price a lot of places. So I'm putting it here too. I'm putting it in the under 10 because you could probably find it for under 10. This is the one where you have to turn it and then you will see it starting to come out. Now I don't know if the little sponge thing is the most hygienic delivery system, but it feels really nice applying it. And I got carried away and I put on way too much. So let's try rubbing some of that off. There's a reason why this one has been popular for so long. The company says it's got micro corrector applicator, that's the spongy part, goji berry and haloxyl to brighten and illuminate under the eyes. It comes in 18 shades, lasts 12 hours, and they call it medium coverage. I would say it's medium to full. I mean, there's mixed reviews on whether there's creasing and settling in fine lines, but more say it doesn't than say it does. My shade was 115 Warm Light. I found it to be blendable, skin-like finish. And let's see, on this, 8, so 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is that one. I would not call it full coverage based on my wrist test, but it did have some creasing, but not as much as some of the others. Okay, but there was creasing. But it is very illuminating on the eye. And it would be a nice one to take with you on the go for touch-ups because you don't need a separate brush or blender or anything to put it on, unless you put on too much like I did. Probably wouldn't be my first choice for covering up dark spots like that, but under the eye, it is very brightening and is nice. Number 9 is e.l.f.'s Hydrating Camo Concealer. I'm back from having to recharge my battery. Is that upside down? The e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Now, a matte 16-hour concealer also, but I don't have that one, so I didn't try it. I bought this for $6.91. This should be lightweight, full coverage, long lasting, comes in 25 shades. It's hydrating, dries darker than it appears in the tube. Satin finish, blendable, large doe foot applicator, and crease resistant. I got it in shade light beige. I found it to be blendable. The large foot lays down a lot of product, so be careful. It does dry slowly, so you have time to blend it. And it does dry darker than when first applied. The second application stayed tacky when I did a double layer a long time when I was testing the color darkening. So I had put down some, and then I put down a second layer over part of the first layer, and it was definitely darker than when I applied the fresh, but then it all dried. It all got darker, but that double layer took a really long time. I don't know, it was tacky a long time. Got to be careful of this really big doe foot applicator. That is one big baby. Let's get my dark spot first. Even with what I put down, it's too much. I'm gonna have to blend it out forever here. So let's take a little of that out. So it blends out beautifully. It covers beautifully. We'll give it a second to darken up. On my crease test, this is number 9, so it's over here. It is this one over here on the end. I would say it's got medium coverage over that dark line on the end there. But as long as you pat it down well before it sets up, it really doesn't crease very much at all. And I like the look of this concealer on the skin. It has a nice texture, and it's one that doesn't make my skin look more wrinkly than it already is. So I'm glad with that one. So I really like this one too. I've got some of the e.l.f. color correctors and stuff, but this was their first concealer I tried, and it's nice. It's nice, people. All right, one more in this group. Okay, one more here. And this is Rimmel London Multitasker Concealer. It looks like this, pretty glass bottle. I bought it for $5.10. It claims to be crease proof, transfer proof, waterproof. It comes in 12 shades. It has a doe foot. Reviews indicate that it dries fast, so blend fast. I used shade 040 in Ivory, and I love this concealer. I've tried one eyeshadow palette from them, but this is the first other kind of thing I've gotten. Whoa, it's got a lot. It's got a lot on there. I think I'll start with just one dot. That doe foot holds a lot, a lot. Again, too much, Terry. I agree, it's full coverage. That brown spot is gone. This one blends really smoothly. It feels nice working with it. Let's just use this. That brown spot is hidden. And this under eye dark area is pretty well covered. Let's pull it back for the shadow. It's just those rents of mine are so deep, it's hard to tell. But from looking at it in person, it did a really nice job on it. Okay, on my wrist test, I ran out of room on this one, so I went back to the very beginning of this one. So this one like right on the edge of my thumb here. It completely covered the black line, and it is not creasing. And it's not really making my skin look, the wrinkles on my skin look more pronounced than they are. So that's another great one. So let's just run down through these and I'll tell you summarize what I liked best about each of them. Okay, the ColourPop, pretty fresh. I liked the finish a lot on this, and I like the finish because it did not accentuate my wrinkles. Because, I mean, come on folks, there's a lot of wrinkles here. I don't want to put a concealer to help with the color, only to make my wrinkles look worse. So, you know, ColourPop is nice. I would buy it again. The CoverGirl Smoothers, this is probably my least favorite one. It's moisturizing and it's designed for under eye. It dragged on my skin when I was applying it, so I needed to, you know, use a brush to put it on. It's hard to cover anything when you're blending it, because as you're blending it, it comes off. And it would be a medium coverage. I would probably not buy this one again. The Catrice True Skin was one of the ones I liked the best. I mean, it's a drugstore brand. You should be able to find it in your drugstore. It's got a retail of $7. It's supposed to be waterproof, but I didn't really try that. With a soft matte finish. It was blendable and full coverage. I really liked the way it looked on the skin. It looked nice. I did not see very much creasing, and the texture of it when it was dry looks like skin a lot. It looks a lot like skin, and it did not emphasize my wrinkles. So for all those reasons, that's one of my favorites. Revolution Beauty Conceal and Define is here. It's easy to pick out from the others because it's got this really pretty label on it. It's also glass. It also has a soft matte finish, full coverage, blendable, and it's got pretty good coverage on this black line, and the creasing was not terrible, and it doesn't emphasize my wrinkles too much. So, I mean, I think this is a good choice. If I needed to, I would buy it again. The next one was this Wet n Wild stick. I'm just not as crazy about the sticks for trying to work under the eye. It's full coverage, it's blendable, it's a soft matte finish. It doesn't really emphasize the wrinkles either. I think the only reason I wouldn't buy this again is because it's a stick. If you like sticks, you're probably gonna like that. Okay, the next Wet n Wild is the Incognito. This was another one I really liked. It's blendable, and I agree with the coverage as being full. This one also looks nice on the wrinkles. It doesn't emphasize them. This is another solid, good option. But I like the Wet n Wild Focus photo focus even better. It does not have as much coverage as the Incognito though. Incognito has very good coverage. So here. So this one on this end is Incognito. It looks nice on the skin. It does not emphasize my wrinkles. I only had a tiny bit of creasing with it. This isn't Incognito, this is photo focus. All right, so that I was just talking about Incognito. This one is the photo focus, and it is right here. Now, I would not call this, I mean, it's not hiding that black line. I'm not sure how often you really need to hide a black line, but it blends in with my skin so well, and does not emphasize the wrinkles at all. There was only a tiny bit of creasing, so this was another one I really liked. Instant Age Rewind is very popular, and it's popular for a good reason. One, it's got that applicator tip in there that might not be the most sanitary for long-term use, but it's really convenient. It feels nice putting it on. You have to be careful you don't twist it as many times as I did after you start using it. And it was very illuminating. This coverage wasn't as good as some of the others. Right there, and there was some creasing. I guess it didn't emphasize my wrinkles too much. You know, this is a good all-around concealer. I mean, it does a good job. Oh, the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Well, I can't figure out where I put the tube. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's the tube. This is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, also a glass thing. I really liked it, and you had a long time to work with it before it dried down. And you've got to keep in mind that the color you see in the tube is not going to be the color after it dries down on your skin. It's going to be darker on your skin. I paid $6.91 for it, and I would buy it again. I would buy it again. The last one was that Rimmel London Multitasker Concealer, and for $5, I loved it. I mean, it did not emphasize the wrinkles. I wouldn't say the coverage was full, but it's probably enough. And it had less creasing probably than any of them. So I would buy that one again too. So that kind of ends our roundup on the under $10 ones. Next video, I'll do the concealers that are from $10 to $20. So that's it for now. If you like comparing these kind of things, please subscribe, hit the notifications, leave a comment. Did I leave out your favorite concealer that's under $10? Drop a comment, and I will see you at the next video.